The moon was once a part of Earth. Before the moon separated from Earth, there existed eternal life. Death and reincarnation were never a part of our life stories because without the moon, there is no reincarnation. And without reincarnation, death is not necessary. Eternal life was a part of our life story before the moon separated from Earth. The moon is nothing more than an injury sustained by Earth, no different than losing a part of your body. What can we learn from this? Look in the mirror and the answers stand before you. What you see in the mirror is yourself. It is your ego. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what you see before you is self-centered. If yourself was not at the center of your intentions, you would have no need to look in the mirror in the first place. Our intent is responsible for separating the moon from Earth. Our intent is responsible for making the karmic cycle a part of our spirit life journey. Our intent is responsible for us having fallen, and our intent is what will bring us back and change the course of our spirit life journey. When we shift our intent away from ourselves, away from our ego, and away from affirmations given by those around us, we take one step forward toward realizing eternal life. It is the self that makes the biological death of the body a necessary part of our existence. It is the self that makes reincarnation a probable outcome after biological death. If we project our intent in a way that it does not place our self, our ego, our desires, and our aspirations at the center of our existence, we will have access to infinite potential and will no longer need to die and start over in a new body. Let's take a deeper look at this. We are born into a world where our spirit life journey revolves around affirmation from others with respect to our behavior, our appearance, and our ability to fit into a reality that's disconnected from Earth. We are continuously evaluated. We have expectations placed upon us that are not compatible with the part of us that yearns for balance and inner peace. We also subject ourselves to fitting into molds that are not designed for us. To reinforce our disconnectedness, we find ourselves constantly looking into the mirror. When we look into the mirror, we ask ourselves whether our physical appearance meets the expectations of others. We ask ourselves whether we're positioned for acceptance by others. And we also ask ourselves whether this perception of beauty we have is aligned with how others see beauty. Although it may not seem like it, we do this voluntarily. The feedback we get from this arrangement tells us in the strongest words possible that our actions are not compatible with our destiny. And for that, we have yet another chance to get it right. We shouldn't regret this act because the reference points we have encountered throughout our life journey have pointed us in this direction. Being aware that we've been led astray from who we are, that we've been led in directions that have disconnected us from nature and have thus disconnected us from Earth, and being aware that this direction has been detrimental to us is a critical step we can take toward realizing the mirror stands at the center of why we find ourselves here in the first place. When we focus on ourself, when we focus on our ego, we become removed from why we have been birthed into this realm in the first place. We are here to use our experiences from past incarnations to strengthen our symbiosis with Earth. The more we stray away from Earth, we injure her. We depart from our origins, and we further ourselves from realizing the consciousness of heaven. And when we do, we have opportunities to get it right. These opportunities come to us through death. The path to having another shot at this and having an opportunity to begin with a clean slate is through death and reincarnation. If during the current incarnation you have failed to understand that your self and your ego, when placed at the center of your intent, will lead you astray, you will have another shot at this. Don't take my words. If you feel there's virtue in placing yourself at the center of your intentions, feel free to do so. This is your journey, and I'm not here to guide it. When we begin asking ourselves why there's such a deep disconnect and misalignment around us, there is virtue in looking within and asking yourself where you find you in the midst of this. If it weren't for the mirror, our intentions would be directed toward the benefit of all, not the benefit of self. When we make the declaration that we intend to bring forth heaven on earth for the benefit of all, the mirror is not needed. The role of the ego in this endeavor is not to reap the benefits that are inherent in the consciousness of heaven for yourself. The role of the ego is to be an autonomous component of a collective endeavor that aims to bring forth heaven on earth. If your self or your ego stood at the center of your intent, realizing the consciousness of heaven would be impossible. As the ego needs affirmation, it needs prominence, and this relentless drive to stand above others and not beside them. Meeting the needs of the ego involves exercising control over others, manipulating their perceptions so that you can stand prominently among them, and declaring your needs stand above the needs of others. Ask yourself whether the needs of the ego are compatible with the consciousness of heaven. Ask yourself whether balance, harmony, and inner beauty can be attained when the ego rests at the center of your intentions. The answer is obvious. That's all for now. Be well, sun gaze, and thrive selflessly.